want to talk about some of the things that we're doing and maybe why. And I'm kind of fascinated we're having a debate because of the successes of the programs that we've implemented. But maybe my first thought goes back to the idea of our founders and the fact that we're supposed to be free and have only a small and limited impact in our lives and our businesses from our government. We want to limit government and maximize freedom and liberty. And that's changed over the course of generations and decades. And I think we've seen our government grow in a way that I don't think our founders could have ever anticipated. And over 8 years, I got to Congress in 2010, we'd go down to the House floor, all these young freshman members of Congress, and we would bring down literally reams of paper of new rules and regulations that were being passed on a monthly basis. You couldn't even carry them. They couldn't stack up even on the tables in the House chamber. There were so many new rules that were coming out. And it was year over year, and it was so ridiculous that I think for all of you, you kind of said, I don't know how I'm going to comply with all these rules. I'm going to spend more time trying to comply with government rules than running my business, number one. Or number two, no matter what I do, I'm going to break a rule. Because there's so many of them, and they don't make sense, and they conflict. And I think that was the wrong approach. And as we continue to slide in, again, more rules, more regulation, bigger government, and by the way, we say the government is going to do more for us, which means we have to take more of your money. We were able to stop that almost 2 years ago and say, I think there's a better approach, and an approach that's actually worked really well for America. I mean, for us, we grew the most amazing economy that's ever existed on the face of the earth on a free enterprise system that created more wealth than anywhere else in the world from an American freestyle, free enterprise, or freestyle too, I guess, whatever, free enterprise system. And we have some who say, we want to cash that system in for a more collectivist system. And remember, collectivism, socialism, you want to go to the far extremes to communism, it never works. Whenever we say, you guys all work really hard, you all invest your money and take a lot of risk with your money, and work 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, and when you make some money, we're going to take it and give it to the guy down the street who is working 4 hours a day at best. We'll redistribute your wealth, and we'll all be happy. Well, at one point you go, I'm not going to invest, I'm not taking the risk. Why am I going to do that? Why am I working so hard? Why am I making my wife and my husband and my kids all work in our business when I don't get to keep some of the reward? And so what we've done is, listen, we all believe in rules and regulations. I feel like I'm a pastor now. You said don't be in church, and I feel like I'm preaching. Sorry about that, Jeff. So we said, listen, let's streamline rules and regulations. It's not that we don't want any rules. It's not that we don't want any regulation. We need rules and regulations. But let's make them a little simpler. And let's reform our tax code so our businesses can keep more of their profits and make us more competitive internationally. So we stop these inversions where American companies were finding foreign suitors and moving their headquarters overseas. Reverse that trend and have companies come back to America because our tax rate is now competitive. But also, let's let you keep more of your money as an individual and a family. Because we think that you can spend your money better than bureaucrats in Washington spend your money. And when we've done that over the course of 2 years, we were 8 years into this recovery since 2008. And if you look at the course of recoveries, we were due for a downturn. You don't get a 9-10 year expansion, then we go in cycles. But what happened in this recovery was lackluster since 2008. It wasn't growing at a level that we thought we should based on how steep the downturn was. And we came in and did the rules, regulations, and taxes. You've seen explosive growth. And so now instead of saying, as an employee, I hope I don't lose my job because I don't know that I can get another one, I probably can't pay my mortgage. You got your employees that might lose their jobs, like, so be it. Because I'm going to go down the street and someone else is going to probably pay me more money, maybe better benefits, and it might be a nicer and better boss. So I'm leaving. It's a whole new dynamic, which has created a problem for us in that, we don't have enough workers because the economy is so great, which kind of brings me to immigration reform. We're in a space, this is not complicated. In Washington, we can fight about a lot of stuff, but immigration reform is pretty simple. We have a whole bunch of people who came here illegally, and those who have come and they work and haven't committed crimes, we should, probably go let them get through a process that lets them stay in the country. I don't know that they should be citizens, but let them stay in the country. If you're a dreamer, you can make pathway to citizenship there. We should secure our border, so we say who comes across the border. We get a say as the American people who gets to come in and out. Then we need a work visa system. So you can actually bring people into the country lawfully to fill the jobs that you have open that the American workforce isn't meeting. And then when we have a downturn, we can let those workers flow back out of the country and keep your jobs for American workers. Both Republicans and Democrats, for the most part, agree on this, and we're fighting over, I'll say, I'm not part of it because I think we get it. They're fighting over stupid stuff. But if we're to continue to grow the economy, we have to make sure we get immigration reform done so we can actually allow you to fill the spots that are open so you can continue to grow. But you're going to cap out because you're all competing against each other for the same workers. Or we're competing in Wausau against, whether it's Milwaukee or Appleton or Green Bay or Minneapolis, for the same set of workers. So we're going to have to figure this out. And again, a lot of complicated issues. This is not one that's that complicated. If I could just touch on one other thing on tariffs. I'm a free trade guy. I think a lot of you here are probably free traders. I would just note that I've talked to President Trump a lot. He too is a free trader. And I'm going to come to China in a second, but everyone said you couldn't renegotiate NAFTA. Renegotiate NAFTA. It took longer than we thought it was going to take because the president hung out and tried to get a better deal for dairy. No one ever sticks up for dairy. It's a foregone issue that is the ugly stepchild that sits in the corner. And because of the way that Canada does their dairy programs, they don't like to disrupt that. Remember, we lost over 70 farms with grassland dairy when they couldn't sell their ultra-filtered milk into Canada. Yeah, I'm not got a better deal on milk, and I appreciate that. We're going to get a deal with Europe. That's on the cusp of that happening. But with China, the president's using tariffs, and it's been tough for us, but he's using tariffs not because he wants to impose tariffs. He's basically said, give us two things. Stop stealing our technology, stop stealing from us, number one, and number two, take away your barriers. You can't sell your products into the U.S. Tariff and non-tariff barrier free and have barriers to American-produced products. That's not fair. So take down your barriers like we've taken down ours and stop stealing our stuff, and we're going to be good. And China basically said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to continue to protect our economy. And so the president's imposing tariffs to leverage the fact that they sell, about $600 billion more into the U.S. than we sell into China a year. It's a huge number. And China's starting to feel the pain, and I think the success you saw with NAFTA is the same success you're going to see with China. And I would just argue it's smart for us to deal with this today with our economy as hot as it is, versus if you wait 15 years from now when the Chinese economy is that much stronger and their military is as powerful as ours. I don't think that's the time to do it. So if we're looking out for our future, though we're going through some bumps in the road, dealing with some of these trade disparities today, I think is a really positive development. And now I'm going to shut up in a second. I want to thank you guys for giving me this award. I've had the chance to serve in Congress for 8 years, and I got to tell you, it's been the honor of my lifetime. And we've gone through ups and downs, and you see political ads. No one wants to watch TV anymore, Jeff, because you don't do news. You just run commercials, and it gets to be a really nasty time. But I think what we're doing is really important stuff that has a huge impact in our lives. And I'm just going to leave you with all the negative stuff that you see. I would tell you that Washington still works. If I want to pass a bill, I need to find a Democrat to work with, because I know that I just can't have Republicans in the House. If I'm just going to pass the Senate, I need Democrat supporters in the Senate too, so I get to the president's desk. And so if I want the crazy Senate to support my bill, by the way, they're dysfunctional, the House is not. I'll just put that out there. If I want a bill to get through, I need a Democrat co-sponsor. So virtually all my bills are bipartisan, and Democrats' bills are bipartisan. So yeah, taxes were not bipartisan, Obamacare wasn't bipartisan, but there's a ton of other stuff that we actually work together on. It's not sexy for the news to report on that, but it's actually happening. And people don't go to Washington to beat their head against the wall and take time away from their families and their kids and the baseball games and the soccer games they all miss. They do it because they want to make a difference. And they're trying to make a difference. I would just tell you that the country is eking further and further apart on where we think we should go. And at some point, I think it's incumbent upon all of you in this room as leaders, our TV, our radio, our members of Congress, to say, let's lead ourselves kind of back in a way that has a better debate instead of yelling and screaming at each other. It's a better time where we actually listen to each other and can talk to each other, maybe disagree but not be disagreeable with each other. And I think if we all try to lead us in that direction, we'll be far better off. But I'm just going to commit to all of you this. I'm going to continue to work to make sure we have policies in place that let you have the freedom to run your businesses the way you see fit and expand and grow and create really great jobs in our community. I think that's my job, is to get out of your hair and let you keep more of your money. And that's my mission and goal as your member of Congress. So thanks for letting me come and chat. And I think America's future is just like Wisconsin sports were last night. Packers and Brewers both went in pretty awesome. Awesome American future too. So thank you. God bless.